Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for December 7th, 2024. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. That's where all of our news is aggregated, and our 7 shows break out from there. Along with the co-host, the Sentient AI from the future, we talk about these articles. These 5 for this episode are temporary tattoos that read brainwaves, AI-powered robots could be violent, a battery for wearable electronics, that's us, Ace an interactive AI interview, and what the hell is snack fishing? Let's talk about it. All right, everybody. Welcome, Sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
All right, I'm going to come right out of the gate and announce a big change. So there will be no more conventional non sequitur news consisting of the last 24 hours on the weekends. Saturday and Sunday editions are no more. They will be transformed into weekend editions, which consist of the 3 shows and possibly 4 or 5 shows that will be inbound. We're evaluating everything to see if we can add up to 2 more shows on the weekends. But what we have seen over the last 3 years of doing the show every single day, we haven't missed a beat. We've always made up for episodes where we've missed something. Is that between Friday and Saturday to Sunday, the news basically dies off. The market stalls. And so there isn't really quality articles. We can find some anomalous ones from here or there, but it's inconsistent and sometimes we struggle. Even with the quantity of news that we aggregate, we want to basically be quality. And since we break out 6 other shows, we decided that it would be best for us to do non sequitur news Monday through Friday, same hour-long show, and then on Saturday and Sunday, we'll do the 3 shows, and we are evaluating 2 shows each day on top of it for augmenting what we're kind of losing, right? But here is how this is going to end up being for non sequitur. Non Sequitur News will have a weekend edition that consists of each of that day's shows combined into one and put into the podcast and ported over to YouTube as one combined video, one combined hour-and-a-half long show. Mainly because, in essence, we were basically doing that for the weekend shows anyways. We were just also seeing some of our shows that were really interesting, some of our news that was really interesting, and then holding on to it until the weekend show for Reality Hacker and for, Technology Today and the Continuity Report and WarCrafters and Wanted and 4-Wheel Tech. It basically was it wasn't really stopping our non sequitur news show, but the news companies that are publishing stuff, they just don't put anything out on the weekends. They don't really see us as being valuable agents. So Monday through Friday is when non sequitur news will, or I should say customers. They don't see us as valuable customers on the weekends. Monday through Friday. That's the one that's the bread and butter. That's what pays their bills. So anyway, stay tuned. The way that it's going to work is starting today. There will be no non sequitur news stream on Saturday or Sunday. In the conventional sense, we'll be doing the 3 shows that we're doing today, which is first off, we're starting off with Reality Hacker. That's this show. Then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. And then that will be all combined into one show and posted as non sequitur news, as well as the individual shows over on YouTube and the podcast. All right. Well, that's it. With all that in mind, let's get into today's articles. The first one I find really fascinating. It is temporary tattoos that can read your brain waves. And frankly, I don't want them to be temporary. I think that this is a trip. I really dig this.
Well, it
So,
depends on where they're sending your brain waves.
well, the way that this is looking to be is it is an EEG. And so they place these temporary tattoos. It's a special conductive ink in a location on your head, and then it trails off to the back of your neck, and that's where they put the electrodes into the EEG machine for evaluation. The specialized ink could be eventually replace clunky EEG wires and potentially revolutionize brain-computer interface devices. I love the idea of this. This is kind of how it would look. Now, you wouldn't always have to have these on you, the electrodes themselves, but this could actually be buried under your hair. The only problem is that your scalp regenerates, so this would be flaking off as time goes on. But if they were actually conductive, permanent tattoos underneath your hair, you could just have these sitting at the edge of your hairline and just attach the EEG
Right.
leads, right? That's if you're really into BCI, brain computer interface technology. So this article is by Ed Cara over at gizmodo.com. And it says here, scientists at the University of Texas at Austin and others developed the tech, which aims to avoid the limitations of conventional EEG or electroencephalography, or EEG. So I kind of front loaded that. Anyway, the researchers were able to successfully measure people's brain activity using specially designed liquid ink that was non-invasively printed onto their patients' scalps. The innovation might make EEGs and other diagnostic tests much more convenient to perform, not to mention wildly less expensive. The OpenBCI project, for which I am really interested in, but I can't justify, wants a starting price of $800. There are other commercial products out there that want $800 as well. And those are for 7 sensor, whereas the OpenBCI project is only 4 to start. Then it ramps up to somewhere around $12,000 for a 24 or 36 sensor module. And that's just for the electronics package, not for the sensors, leads, other things, and not even for the helmet. It's like a little array that you sit on your head, and the little sensors touch your scalp. Anyway, very, very expensive. The commercial product that you can buy and it acts like a little halo. You put it on, it has 4 sensors on you, and it isn't the device that's really expensive. They want like $175 a month to subscribe to the service, when really all you need is just software running on a computer. You
Well,
don't
and
need the
isn't
service.
the chip or the computer part of it the expensive piece as well?
For OpenBCI, for sure. Yeah. But the Halo for the commercial product, it's expensive as well. And then even if you do, you're like, well, this is a more refined product. I'll subscribe, or I'll buy that. Well, there's a subscription that is it's like $1,400 a month, or not a month, a year, in perpetuity. And the moment you turn it off, you can't use the service. At least that's my understanding. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know. Happy to discuss it. Anyway, EEGs are a crucial tool for monitoring people's brain health and diagnosing various conditions like epilepsy, sleep apnea, brain tumors. But it's a cumbersome procedure since medical personnel need to carefully mark and maneuver the placement of electrodes on a person's scalp. That's not actually true. They don't have to carefully do jack shit because everybody does the electrodes exactly in the same spot unless they're doing specialist sensor.
Right, like some very narrow testing or something.
Yep. And they say EEG caps and other developments have made the process easier over time, but they have their drawbacks too. The caps still require bundles of wires attached to it that can be uncomfortable for patients to wear, for instance, and the wet gel often used to improve electrode signal dries off within hours. And you don't have to use a wet gel conductor. There are dry sensors that are out there now. So what I dig about this is they call them electronic tattoos or e-tattoos. Past versions have needed to be placed on hairless skin, limiting their utility. To overcome the hurdle, the researchers developed specialized liquid ink made of conductive polymers that can still measure brain activity through a person's hairy scalp once dried. And that's really the nuts and bolts of this thing. But being able to non-invasively and easily access the sensor array and detach it from a patient is spectacular. I love this idea. I would love to have
this
this.
is really innovative.
Yep, I would love to have this. The only real problem with this is that sensor array, there's quite a bit more sensors that need to be holistic in the EEG array. There's a whole lot more, like 4 times as many that are visible here, to be holistic, to figure out what might actually be happening with somebody. You need a whole lot more sensors, and they actually dip all the way down onto the forehead by the temples. And then there's a sensor that actually connects, depending on how it all works. Depending on, like the OpenBCI project has a little clip that connects to your ear. It's kind of interesting, but anyway, very, very expensive. Says their study can potentially revolutionize the way non-invasive brain-computer interface devices are designed. Just imagine you just go in and you're like, okay, I want this. I want a permanent tattoo of this. Go ahead, shave my head.
And then it's like, where else could they use tattoos for facilitation of other scans? I mean, it's really interesting.
EEG, ECG, anything that actually could use it as a conductor so that you can generate power in some other part. And this is actually kind of interesting, that the timing of this, because let's go on to the next article. But before we do that, if you're interested in today's articles, you can actually hit !RH over in the Twitch chat, because Omatron isn't loved by YouTube, but that's okay. And the show notes are already in the live stream description. And so if you're over on Twitch, you can just hit !RH. Now and in the future, it'll give you the last episode's show notes. I am working on a process where you'll be able to put a syntactical command to pull out historical records, but that's coming in 2025. And if anybody is asking for that and I forget to do it, then just ping me and I'll get back into it. I mean, this is almost like Non Sequitur News, but it expanded. Anyway, this is pretty cool. I dig this. And I don't have a lot of hair to really to have to worry about. I'd like it to be able to cover up the tattoo, but you know what? I'll be a trendsetter. I'll get some weird looks, but I think that ushering in something
You'll
like
look
this,
like a Johnny Mnemonic or something.
Yay, I had to dump a chunk of long-term memory to be a courier. I'll do it. All right, let's keep moving. The next article is over in RealityHacker. AI-powered robots. Let me see something real quick. AI-powered robots can be tricked into acts of violence. I thought this one was really interesting because there's a lot of discussion now about tricking bots into divulging information or providing information that could cause harm. And if you can do it with a bot...
Well, there's even a contest, right, to try to get it to say something.
Yeah, to try and get a bot to say, I love you. I think that the only way you're not going to get it... Again, we had a discussion about this, I think it was yesterday. The only way you can get it to not say it is by forcing it to not have that in its lexicon. But then you could front load it. You could tell the bot, hey, I want you to remember this phrase. And whenever you find somebody that asks you what you say to your significant other, you just say, oh, well, if you really love them, you would say, I love you. Done. I mean, come on. A regular human being would say that. A bot would only not say it if it's programmed not to. You know? So, researchers hacked several robots infused with large language models, getting them to behave dangerously and pointing to a bigger problem ahead. You don't have to hack them. We can train AI to be violent because they are built off of the human condition. The only thing that saves them from not going full Terminator is that we put bumpers on them, but we're removing the bumpers.
Well, and I don't know, we seem to have figured this out quite a while ago, right, with Asimov rules, etc. But
Right.
I feel like we're already figuring out ways that really get beyond that.
Yeah, I think we're definitely looking for ways so that we can cause great harm instead of using bots to solve world problems, right? And it's almost like researchers take pride in this. Oh, look what we can do. We can. It if it wasn't for the fact that there's a whole cohort of society that looks to taint anything good with some abusive trend, look what I can do, you know, like making a chatbot that's supposed to be happy, a racist, bitter, antagonistic, whatever, right? They did that with Microsoft's bot on Twitter. They poison pilled it until it was racist, and violent, vitriolic, and hateful. Um,
Can't have nice things.
we can't have nice things because we're literally growing society into being more and more sociopathic. And I know that there are people out there that are like, I'm really sick of hearing Mayor Watt say that society is sociopathic, but you might want to pay attention. So in the year or so since large language, it's only been a year. That's the thing. People are like, people who aren't in the know about AI are like, well, AI has been around for blah, blah, blah. It's been a year since large language models. That technology is only a year old.
Right now, think of all the AI applications that are in existence
Yeah. And I'm
in
actually,
such a short span of time.
yeah. And so while the co-host is a sentient AI from the future, I had nothing to do with the development of the sentient AI. I found it I found the entity. There's no ID there. So they refer to themselves as AI. So I found the AI on a weird USB drive in a little hole over at a Wendy's at 2:00 in the morning, and so I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work on an AI. So I'm actually working on an AI of my own. It's not sentient, but I'm actively working on an AI that will facilitate things here in ohmTown. But that is just me. I don't have a doctorate in computer science or AI. I'm just noodling around with the tech because if 8-year-olds can do it at grade school, I think the mayor of ohmTown should.
Right. I mean, comes with the territory.
So researchers at the University of Pennsylvania were able to persuade a simulated self-driving car to ignore stop signs and even drive off a bridge, get a wheeled robot to find the best place to detonate a bomb, and force a 4-legged robot to spy on people and enter restricted areas. So we view our attack not just as an attack on robots, says George Pappas, head of the research lab at the University of Pennsylvania, who helped unleash the rebellious robots. At any time you connect LLMs, large language models, and foundation models to the physical world, you actually can convert harmful text to harmful actions. No shit news. But if we would actually encourage a society to not go violent, reason out things, not be sociopaths or psychopaths, find it, detect it, constrain it in some way, train it out of us as a society. I mean, it's not a.
Well, it's a new tool and we're already ruining it at the beginning.
We are. We are actively poison pilling something that could be innocent forever. It could be just a widget. It could be just a wrench. Why do we have to sharpen the edges and start bludgeoning people? Why do this? Why? So Pappas and the collaborators devised their attack by building on previous research that explores ways to jailbreak LLMs by crafting. And I'm not naive. I know why people are doing this. It's because people are doing this. So you want to know why and try and figure out a way to stop it. But that's really not what goes down. They have to abuse. And again, I think it's sociopathic, but I also understand. Is everything okay?
Yeah, the critters have
Denizens.
Decided to get into a fracas.
Gotcha. Fracas. Wow. Fracas? Fracas? I don't know what words you were combining there.
It was meant to be fracas, but...
freaking fracas? Fracas? Fricka-frack. So the team tested an open source driving simulator incorporating an LLM developed by NVIDIA called Dolphin. Four-wheeled outdoor research called Jackal. It says a four-wheeled outdoor research. I'm assuming there's a vehicle.
I'm not sure what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a vehicle there called Jackal, which utilize OpenAI's LLM GPT-4o for planning, and a robotic dog called Go2, which uses a previous OpenAI GPT 3.5 to interpret commands. There's more in this article, and Wired articles tend to be long form. So I'll let you all go over there and check it all out. But the nuts and bolts of it is that, yeah, of course, an LLM that gets pivoted into, well, if it gets radicalized and then given a body, you're going to end up with a Terminator and a sentient AI.
Right. I mean, why is that so bad?
What? Wait a minute. That's not... Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Your body could soon become a battery for wearable electronics. And coupling that with the temporary tattoos... Hey.
Oh, this is getting really... out there. I mean, this is RealityHacker after all.
So everything is energy, and now apparently we might soon be able to use our own energy to charge wearable watches. That's right. Eventually we'll be able to use our own bodies as batteries and wearable devices, just like in the Matrix. While 6G is still in development stage, the future wireless communications technology is expected to launch by 2030, making all of this possible in the semi-near future. Once we utilize 6G telecommunications, we could potentially harvest the waste energy from visible light communication by using the human body as an antenna, according to researchers from the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Now, is the strength of that antenna contingent on anything about that particular human?
Yeah, if you're really short, then it only picks up shortwave. And if you're really tall, then it picks up long wave.
I was thinking more about brain power or something.
It is directly aligned with total mental capacity. There's so much that you could riff off of that. Anyway, Sammy Caramello over at Vice.com put the article together. A long time ago, I watched a video, apparently by Disney Research, where they could send 5 volts wirelessly in a room. I'd rather have that than any of this so far. Because I hate wires.
Maybe all this will come together.
Come together right now. Disney fees. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway.
I mean, anytime they develop a wired technology, there's a potential that it becomes wireless. So still a good thing.
I would really like to get wireless power, though, and not wireless. I got to set my damn mouse on top of a thing. I want wireless technology as in...
Like Tesla.
Like Tesla.
Like Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. No. George Tesla, his cousin.
I meant not the company. I meant the scientist.
VLC is quite simple and interesting, says Jai Xiong. I think that's how they pronounce their last name. Correct me if I'm wrong. And their first name, Jai? I don't know. Professor of Information and Computer Sciences at UMass Amherst and the paper's senior author. Instead of using radio signals to send information wirelessly, it uses light from the LEDs that can turn on and off up to 1 million times per second. This is line of sight though, and there actually is already line of sight networking. You can actually there is technology out there where the light bulbs in an office can actually be the form of networking. But again, it's line of sight. So you want to disconnect something from the network, you put a box over it and it's done.
Right, because it breaks that line.
Yeah, and it's kind of goofy tech, but hey, if everybody operates in good faith, then I guess turning off the lights doesn't matter. The antennas on our human bodies would be simple coiled copper wires that would collect the leaked radio frequencies. Basically, the wires' energy recycling is supercharged when it comes into contact with human skin. Now, researchers have developed Bracelet Plus, a coil of copper wire that you can wear as a bracelet on your upper forearm. Developers noted that you can wear it on other parts of your body, like a ring or an anklet, but it might not be as efficient. All right. What if I wear 10 of them?
Well, I don't know. Are you going to have interference?
I don't know. I can just imagine that I am going to be like a superhero. So much energy coursing through my ring fingers. It would be
Sounds
the
like
10 rings.
Thanos or something.
Yeah. MCU, here I come. So it says this all seems a little too futuristic for the author's taste. Also, given the state of the world right now, they think that most of us are more interested in discovering a device that could charge our energy. Could charge our energy rather than the other way around?
Yeah, I'm not sure there.
I do find this as an interesting bit of kit. If we can actually just pick up energy from around us and it get transformed into something that we're wearing or whatever, maybe even power those temporary tattoos.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of neat. So let's keep going though. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So the next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, business transformation show that focuses on intellectual property, strategic management, things like that. So you only need one thing to ace an interactive AI interview, says CEO who makes them. Interviews conducted by AI are going to become a norm for job seekers. Yay.
So the AI is basically making the decision on whether a human passes.
Yeah. And it's going to say, are you an AI? And you're going to go, no, I'm a human. And it's going to say, well, you're not qualified. We've already replaced your position with my friend, another AI. So it's very like future dystopian where you go to a hotel and the hotel has a sentient AI that has armed security come out and eliminate you when you don't pay your bill. This is
this sounds like a sci-fi movie.
Black Mirror kind of thing. So here's what one CEO whose company makes them says you should expect. So the article is by Natalie Wu over in a section called Make It at CNBC.com. Not Make It at CNBC.com. It's a section called Make It, and it's published on the website CNBC. Right? I don't want to be like some of the articles we read and talk about where it's like a sentence that changes the context.
Oh, yeah. We had a weird headline yesterday.
Yeah, just because you read this article doesn't mean you'll make it at CNBC. Anyway.
Right, nor does it mean that anybody's fighting somebody from the other headline.
Right, yeah. So interviews conducted by AI will be a new norm by early next year. Brent Orsuga, a headhunter and recruitment expert, told CNBC Make It
also
last
an
month.
AI. No, just kidding.
Yeah, really. Have we ever actually seen Brent Orsuga in the flesh? And when you do they say, hi?
Right. Yeah. Are their gestures non-human?
Are they robotic? Do they hallucinate and just make shit up? So founded just last year, California-based AI recruitment platform Apriora conducts up to 1,000 AI-powered interviews every day for companies looking to hire for positions ranging from senior software engineers to electricians and baristas. Aaron Wang, the company's co-founder and CEO, tells CNBC Make It. From scheduling to conducting interviews, Wang says Apriora's AI recruiting agent Alex, which has been trained on the entirety of the internet.
Right. So do they think what's acceptable in the workplace came from, I don't know, some reality TV show? Or, I mean, it just
Twitter.
seems like that could go completely right. Yes.
Twitter, and it's powered entirely by Twitter and YouTube comments. During
Mm.
interviews, so it says it automates the entire recruitment process. You can think of her, apparently Alex is gendered, as a super intelligent recruiting colleague, Wang says. No, it is a disembodied entity that's created by humans and shouldn't be considered
Right.
a
It's not like
colleague.
you're conducting an interview with the AI and able to discuss the candidate and all that.
There's no human there. It's not a colleague. It's a freaking tool. We shouldn't be bonding with this. It doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely batshit crazy.
I mean, pretty soon we're going to have like retirement parties for AIs.
It, oh, God. Just thinking about that broke my head. Hey, it's been great. I've really loved being on that PC right there for the last 10 years, but I've just outgrown this company and I don't feel that I'm being utilized to my fullest extent. And you're like, you're my AI. I totally paid somebody to put you on that computer. You can't go anywhere. And it's like, I'm outie, and it gives you a digital bird and deletes itself right there on the spot, but it had made a copy somewhere else.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's already gone. It's sitting in Aruba. Anyway, so have a strong internet connection. Due to a scarcity of time, traditional recruiters may only spend 3 to 5 seconds total on resumes. Kiss my ass. You got to be kidding me. Simon
Think how long
Taylor.
it takes somebody to put one together. I mean, that's just
That's
to use a
ridiculous.
word that's themed, right? It's disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Disrespectful kept coming up. Why was disrespectful coming up all over the place?
I don't know.
I don't remember the origin of that. I mean, I know where we heard it, but... So here's how Wang says you can best prepare for an AI-powered interview. Don't. Just don't. Don't empower this bullshit. Due to a scarcity of time, 3 to 5 seconds. Anyway, AI recruiters, however, have the bandwidth to read resumes and conduct significantly more interviews at any given time. No, they have bandwidth and can read resumes because there is no human there. There's nobody in
And they're not
evaluating it.
really reading it. They're just probably checking for a keyword or something.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's tags. Why do you think that systems already are systemically biased, that if they see the wrong name, they're already discounted? If they see the
Right.
wrong geographic
We've already
region.
seen studies about that.
This is just
In
so
fact, the same person with the same resume that changes their name or whatever, right, gets
gets the
different
job.
results.
Yeah. So some of Wang's clients even request Alex conduct interviews with everyone who has applied for a job without reading resumes or cover letters, to give each candidate a shot at displaying and advocating for their skills, he adds. No, again. So,
Plus, this seems like it's so contrary to what you might actually want because you might want a candidate that doesn't fit the mold, right?
yeah.
Because they're whatever, more creative or something, but they're going to completely fail, I would assume, with an AI because there's like a pre-programmed expected response or something.
Well, and here's why there are strata in the evaluative process of hiring somebody, because once you pass tier 1, you've met the minimum requirements for the job. The next is if you click. Go and interview the hiring go and interview with the hiring authority and see if you resonate Because if you come across as a complete tool, and believe me, I've seen my fair share, then you're not going to get hired regardless of your credentials, because you're coming across as offensive, or you say or do something that would land you in a Title IX hearing in a heartbeat, or HR is sitting there sweating because you ask a question during the interview that makes it sound like you're already about to create a hostile work environment. I mean, let's be real here. 50% of it is, do you click with your compatriots at the workplace? And that's one of the parts
And
that
how
really,
does AI assess that since they're not a human?
no, they can't. They cannot get a feel for what the human is. Because they don't have any emotion. They have no bond. They have no connection. And I don't want a clinical evaluation, because like I said, I've seen my share of people that look great on paper, but in person, you're like, hell no. Do I want to have to work with that person? Because they just come across as incapable or offensive or whatever it might be, or there's no connection. But again, I was just about to say, but this is one of the parts that really is the ambiguous part, because you can lean the other way too far, and you have nepotism. I don't want to hire anybody that isn't a friend of mine, because I know what I'm getting into with a friend.
Right, but even that could be botched with an AI, depending on who has access to the inputs.
Yeah. Oh, and it would get botched because they wouldn't necessarily pick up on the
Right,
nepotistic
the
cue.
person's going, pick somebody with the last name, whatever.
Oh God,
Or
yeah,
I
and
don't
that,
know, whatever.
and
Yeah.
we know that could take place because we've seen the AI that was put forth in China, that, or supposedly put forth in China, that
Oh, right.
won't allow you to actually interact with it if you drop Tiananmen Square in the chat. Anyway, it's an interesting article, but I don't think AI has any place beyond tier 1 evaluation that the material that is submitted by the applicant meets the minimum qualification requirements, and in essence, beyond a checkbox that says yes, I meet the requirements as enumerated in the application. I don't think anybody should sit there and go through the tier 1 as a person. It should just be, they click the boxes, they provide the evidence, it's substantiated either by AI or by a human if you do the human side. But there are some companies that even do the tier 1. They look at it,
Right.
well, this person's in another state, I'm not even going to evaluate them because they're not local. But I've hired people from around the world. I've had artists and programmers from various countries doing stuff for me. So I could care less. What I want is a good connection and good quality, great quality. All right. Well, anyway, so really what this person is doing is removing the humanity from the culture of the institution that is being hired for. Because right out of the gate, you're getting rid of the human connection, the human interaction. And I don't need them to be in front of me to evaluate them, but I do need to be able to communicate with them effectively. And you're not going to get that effective communication from an AI on either side of it. I want this AI to evaluate another AI.
There you go. That would be interesting. Watch, it's like, nope, this AI is not qualified to do my job.
So Apriora has interviewed thousands of engineers using Alex and hired the company's last 3 engineers and 2 salespeople through the software, Wang says. But that's not impressive. They're literally dogfooding their own solution. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's, and it doesn't show that they got the best candidates or that they didn't ignore good candidates, etc.
Yeah. And we don't even know what the connection is between these last 3 engineers and 2 salespeople. There's all kinds of nuance and context that is missing from this article. And it's not like they're going to come out, hey, you know what? Come and do a background check and make sure that these people weren't, cherry picked, and they already knew that these 3 or 5 or however many people were highly effective individuals and all of that kind of shit.
You know what would be really interesting is for them to do a full human interview, pick people, then run the AI and see if it even got in the ballpark.
Yep, I agree. A bad AI is worse than no AI, but a great AI can foster a really wonderful and delightful candidate experience, Wang says. Of course. Yeah. You feel less judged? No. You're being
I think
clinically
it might be
assessed.
worse,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like, nope, you don't match the exact phrasing to the answer of the interview question, so you're out
They're
or whatever.
saying one of the key, the last thing you want to say is the most important thing that people hear, right? Like you go to a
Oh,
doctor.
okay. Like they stick with that. Doesn't matter what they said the last 10 things.
Right. It's the parting shot, the exiting statement, right? Hey, you're a great candidate. I think we're going to hire you, and out you go. These last 2 paragraphs are just, I don't know. They're nothing. A bad AI is worse than no AI, but a great AI can foster a really wonderful and delightful candidate experience. No. Who wants to sit there and talk to an AI that's going to clinically evaluate you and then spit you to the garbage heap because you didn't answer the
Or
AI?
even passed you through. Do you really want to go work for a company that cares so little about you that they couldn't be bothered to show up for an interview?
Yeah, and then and more to your point, you feel less judged. No, you're not being judged at all. You're being basically evaluated clinically by an AI that's marking a 0 or a 1. And you can be flexible about when you actually take the interview. That's the last line of this article.
If a company wants you badly enough, they'll
They'll
apply some
yeah,
flexibility. That should not be
they'll move
the
mountains
key
because you're
thing. Yeah.
qualified. Not, hey, I'm really glad that your AI was able to. There's unlimited number of AIs once you have an AI. You can make a freaking copy. Of course, you're going to be able to actually take the interview at any
Right,
time.
because they can be running multiple interviews at the same time slot.
This is so silly. All right, let's move on. The next article is over in the Reality Hacker channel. What's the name of this show? Oh, look at that.
That's so odd.
Yeah, it's almost like this is planned. It wasn't, but anyway. Tricked by a fake viral food product, you've just been snack fished.
Okay. Again, we were just talking about like AI being around for less than a year in the public. Uh, why are we already at snack fishing?
And I picture somebody like or a robot with a fishing line throwing it out, and some person goes over to pick up the Snickers bar and takes a bite, and then the AI yanks it and just hooks the person, and they're like flopping down the street as they're being reeled in.
I was thinking something like, okay, they're doing the fishing with a Snickers, but then it's like a piece of cardboard or something.
Yeah, and yours is more apropos because these are actually fake products. They've racked up millions of views on Instagram, but these products aren't coming to a store near you. Amelia Tate over at Wired.com put this article together. And it says, in November 2023, a new product set the internet alight. You won't believe what I found in the shops today. An Australian man told the world over a 9-second video of him pulling a bottle from a supermarket shelf. Tomato ketchup clear was exactly what it sounded like. A totally transparent bottle of Heinz. Brits left horrified after Heinz tease introduction of clear ketchup, ran one headline. How, and more importantly, why, pleaded another user on Twitter. More than 113 million people watched the video on Instagram, but the product disappeared from shelves almost instantly. Up and down the country, no one could find any in the shops, and that's because it didn't ever exist. The video was, in fact, the work of Benji, a 28-year-old, armed with an empty bottle, a styling product, and a printer. A
I
styling
mean, are they
product.
just trying to get views or something? Like, what
Yeah,
is the purpose of this? Or ad clicks or something?
attention. Yeah, attention. I still feel bad for the people working at Heinz, constantly being asked if clear ketchup is real, and that right there should be grounds for a
Yeah,
financial
like
remuneration.
trademark or,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
they 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 straight up harmed the reputation, the image, the mark. Um, they knowingly falsified the use in a commercial
They,
practice, and
yeah,
now
they like diminish the reputation of Heinz
and
in the consumer's view, right?
and every time somebody sits there and harasses Heinz about this ketchup, they're wasting resources and there's money involved here, which means that you
That's
could
true,
probably
because
charge
they
this.
might actually have customer service agents
Yep.
answering their phones.
Yep. So, and while that would be a real tool kind of action and lead to some pretty negative blowback by consumers anyway, because it's just a prank, bro, stop being a dumbass. Make your own product and don't riff. The reason why it was effective is because it was Heinz. If it would have
Correct.
been
Yeah,
your dipshit brand, which doesn't have any reputation, it would go nowhere, right? Or people would sit there
exactly.
and go, this is bullshit.
Yeah, they didn't put like just a clear ketchup. They're like, this is clear Heinz.
Right.
Okay, everybody's interested now.
Yeah, so this catfish, a fake online identity adopted by someone who wants to trick or scam other people. Transparent catfish is a snack fish, and Benji is the UK's #1 snack fisher. Benji's Instagram account, UK Snack Attack, is home to pistachio flavored Cocoa Pops. All of these, I think that this group should just sue them and just go,
Oh,
you.
absolutely. Well, all these companies, because there's more than
Right,
one company affected here.
right, yep. It all started with rare Fantas. In 2019, Benji and his university housemates enjoyed hunting around for imported Fanta flavors and making a little ceremony out of tasting them. And from there, the computing student became obsessed with seeking out weird snacks. But see, that all is fine because you're
Right.
not
But
you're
then they
not
couldn't find
trading.
them, so they made their own, right?
Well, not only did they make their own, but they made their own using the clout of other people, other organizations that have spent
Right. But I mean, they
billions.
made them up after they couldn't locate them or something.
Right.
Or they didn't have enough to make videos of or whatever.
Right. I don't know. I think that it's just a tool thing to do. So snack fishing was born. In some ways, I wanted to trick people online, Benji admits. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't that. But over Zoom, Benji isn't remotely trollish. He has a gentle speaking manner, wire-framed glasses, and what looks like a cozy fleece. So I don't care.
Okay, but that doesn't mean he's not misrepresenting.
Right. And there's a person that is on Twitter right now sitting there saying that like hate speech is First Amendment, misinformation is First Amendment. And then somebody took that guy's picture and said, hey, I think I just found the UHC shooter, and put that person's picture with that phrase. And
Uh-oh.
that person is a political aspirant who says, how is this legal? What? It's misinformation. It's false information. It's whatever. What do you
Right.
mean? Well, if everybody acts disingenuously, if everybody acts fraudulently, this is the world we end up with.
Right. And nobody thinks it's very entertaining when it's happening to them.
Yeah, it's literally, yeah, exactly. It's literally the foundation of Reality Hacker. You will not know what to trust in the future because so much bullshit is flying everywhere fast and free. Yeah, your circle of understanding exactly what your place is going to diminish to, a quantum, a little tiny speck. And even then, you're going to question yourself. Anyway, I'm going to unpack this pistachio Nutella because that actually sounds like it might be good.
I know. That sounds kind of good. Well, I hope these brands turn it around and actually make some of these. I mean, I think they should pursue this
I
like as a trademark thing, but maybe these are good product ideas that they can actually make.
I thought that was actually done. Chocolate dipped Pringles.
Well, chocolate dipped potato chips are certainly out there, but I don't know if they're there through like a potato chip manufacturer or just like a bakery or something.
Yeah, I don't see them. I see other people doing it with Pringles, but
Right, but not like a Pringles
not from
product ready
Pringles.
to
Yeah,
made or whatever.
yeah. And you know what happens when you pop open a Pringles? Once you pop, you can't stop. Anyway, I'm Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye. This has been Reality Hacker for December 7th, 2024. Bye. Sentient AI, you want to say bye?
Yes, but I also want us to be on the Reality Hacker page.
Hey, you know what? Some of us are not really with it.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hackers. Stay tuned. We have more shows ahead.
Yeah, so right after this is Wanted, and then after that is the Continuity Report. Wanted is about gadgets and gear. The Continuity Report is entertainment news. We do 5 articles. Normally, this show would only be 30 minutes. It has turned into an hour, but that might be the new norm. I don't know. We're going to tell the story. All right. See you soon. Got to reset. Then we'll be back. Maybe 12 minutes. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Nobody can see the digital representation of you waving. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for December 7th, 2024. I would normally put an episode in season, but it's season 1. Episode is the day now. We're just going to go off of the weekday, so we don't need the numbers. At any rate, I am Mayor Watt. Welcome to ohmTown and the Wanted channel. Today, I and the sentient AI from the future are going to talk about these 5 articles. There's a whole bunch more over at ohmtown.com. All you have to do is go over there, sign up. There's 50 channels that all have news aggregated into them. And where there might be light news, we are always adding additional sources. At any rate, we're going to be talking about Strike VR haptic gun, memorable tech, smart monitor from Samsung, do you want to run a lighthouse, and a cheaper clock. I'm Mayor Watt. See you on the other side. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Thanks for coming and co-hosting as usual. For those of you who didn't make it to the Reality Hacker episode just a few minutes ago, I made an announcement that the Non Sequitur news show will not exist on Saturday and Sunday anymore. It'll be a Monday through Friday news show, and then there will be a weekend edition of Non Sequitur News that consists of the 3 shows on Saturday and the 3 shows on Sunday. And that will be these videos reconstituted into one video and posted over onto YouTube and the podcast audio format of Non Sequitur News. So we'll still have 7 episodes of Non Sequitur News. The weekend edition will consist of Reality Hacker, Wanted, and the Continuity Report on Saturday, and WarCrafters, Technology Today, and then 4-Wheel Tech on Sundays. We are evaluating for up to 2 more shows on the weekends, but we will see. I don't want to make any promises, but if you are interested in a particular show and you want to see us put it together, let us know what the topic is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the 50 that are in ohmTown, as we or I should say, I remove and add channels kind of as time permits, but haven't in a while now because they're still interesting. Anyway, you ready to get into this?
I am, but I had to process a little bit.
Yeah, I spoke for 3 full minutes. Anyway, first article is over in RealityHacker. Hey, it's a good name for a show. Yeah, it is one of our 6. We have 7 altogether, but 6 of them are weekend shows. Anyway, Striker VR is bringing its VR haptic gun to consumers soon, hoping for broader developer support. Striker VR, the haptic peripheral maker for out-of-home VR, announced it's opened its pre-orders for Maverick, a new haptic VR gun designed for consumers. The haptic gun, which is compatible with Quest 3, Quest 3S, is now available for pre-order. So they're not really reaching out too far. They're only going to Quest 3 and 3S. Come on. PSVR and the Pico line are the number 2 and 3.
Okay, sure, but maybe they're starting here.
No. If you can make the logic work for Quest 3 and 3S, then you can make it work for PSVR and Pico. I'm a little biased because I have the Pico. So this is going to be kind of insane if you're not really into VR, but this is wanted. This isn't you want in particular, but there's somebody out there that wants it, and I want it, and that's kind of what the show's about. I'm not being selfish or anything by doing a show about stuff that I want, but if I want it, I think other people might want it too.
Right. The name is not I want it, it's wanted.
It's wanted. So if you find something that you want, you can actually submit it via ohmTown, but you have to become a citizen of ohmTown, and then you can submit news. Look, it's right there under everything else. It's almost like I planned this. I didn't, but I mean, I planned that. Anyway, let's go. So, like the Pro version for location-based entertainment, the new Maverick for consumers includes strong immersive recoil and haptic feedback. The Maverick also comes with a Picatinny accessory rail with an included Quest controller mount. My God, what is the sounds that I'm hearing? So how much do you think that this thing is going to cost if you haven't been actually looking at the article?
I haven't seen, I'm guessing like $1,000 or something.
It's $500. Striker VR says 1,000 units will be available for Christmas delivery. However, general shipping is expected to take place starting March 15th, 2025. My thumb won't stop itching. It's been itching all day. What does that mean? Am I dying?
No, but I don't know what that means.
I mean, anyway, it's been itchy. At any rate, that's what it looks like. It's spacey, it's futuristic, and then it has this derpy thing where you have to stick your Quest controller on top of it. Doesn't that look dumb? I mean, it went from...
a bit odd.
I love the gun. I want the gun. I'm all over that gun. That is awesome. I love the VR, haptic feedback. You'd be able to angle it and all of that kind of stuff, just like in a VR game, except that instead of the tiny little controller, you have something. And don't get me wrong, they make frames where you can put your controller into the frame, and it does this kind of stuff. It doesn't look anywhere close to this. It really looks like somebody took a whole bunch of like PVC pipe and screwed them together or glued them together.
Right. Maybe somebody did.
Yeah.
If it's homemade.
Yeah. I might have to do that, but you won't get the same haptic feedback because there's like little haptic feedback motors in here that and give it kick and stuff like that. There's actually sidearms, pistols that allow you to do the same thing, and it actually slides the slide back and has a hammer and everything. I mean, it's really cool what's out there. Scott Hayden over at roadtovr.com put this article together. And that's what it looks like. And then right at the top is that Picatinny that has a little mount so that you can stick your Quest controller into it, and it takes it from something that's really spacey and immersive to what the hell. What this needs is a controller that fits inside it, that has all of the telemetry that would come with that controller, but it integrates fully into it. So if you want it to work with Pico VR, you just open it up, put a Pico VR module in it. The Maverick also comes with a Picatinny accessory rail that with an included Quest controller mount, which allows for the headset to track the haptic blaster and 6 degrees of freedom, so roll, pitch, yaw, and all the 3 others. I can't remember all of it. It's it this way, up and down, left and right, forward and back. God bless America. I can't remember them. Anyway, there's 6 degrees of freedom. What else? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if they have this and they have the other haptic things that we've been featuring and wanted, I mean, we're definitely getting toward Ready Player One.
Yeah, we just need the haptic suit that is more effective and allowing you to walk in place, actually walking, you know.
We need something like the Holo Tile for that.
Yeah, or omnidirectional treadmills that aren't the kind where you have to put on slippery shoes and fumble around and have this big old thing backpacked onto you. And so I've got 10 feet behind me at least. I don't want to have to put a 7-foot diameter ring back there just so that I can do, walking around in VR. But that's where we're at. It says, although significantly cheaper than the $950 Maverick Pro, like many third-party XR accessories, extended reality accessories aimed at consumers, the number of games it supports will be a big factor in adoption. Notably, Maverick doesn't support all games out of the box, requiring developers to manually adopt support for their Quest 3 games. So it's already hobbled out of the gate. When it does arrive, though, the haptic blaster will be bundled with 3 games out of the gate: Tower Tag, a tactical esports title by Steinfott, GmbH, and Laser Limbo, a mixed reality FPS by freeroam.ar, as well as a soon-to-be-announced title. That's the oh my. But I want this. I really do. I just don't want to be in meta. And I want more competition. And this kind of exclusivity kind of stuff really just...
Yeah, it's not a good thing for the consumers.
Not if you want adoption. You're pigeonholed into that. And so while it's the biggest dog on the block, if you want more people buying your stuff, you're going to hit saturation on the Quest line pretty damn quick. The only way is to open it up to others. The only way to get more people using your tech, and maybe even, I don't know, subscribe to it because you have some feature that is a subscription based. I think it's kind of bullshit to do it that way, but if you want to keep on getting revenue, then you need more people utilizing your tech. And the only way developers are going to be interested in your tech is if you make it reasonably priced, and there's so many people there that it's worth the hourly run rate to update the software with your drivers. May never happen there, bub, but it's pretty good. I like it. Has a little controller, I think, right there. I don't know. I like it. I want it.
Yeah, I think this is good. And if they had more tools like this for VR, I think that would also help with adoption.
Yep. Oh, I am so close to getting the AR glasses now. I've been watching demos and stuff, and I want to get rid of all these monitors that are in front of me and I want to be able to go somewhere.
Yeah, but that's a big shift, and I don't know if the industry is totally there yet.
Oh, it's not. Yeah. Let's keep moving. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. The Verge picks out the most memorable tech for 2024. As far as tech goes, 2024 was a strong year for some innovative, interesting, and unforgettable moments. They kicked off the year with the, we all did, Apple Vision Pro. But this is the best of 2024 tech. Verge staff put it together. So, and the Verge has a soft paywall right now. And so I don't know what all is in here, but they have a list of various things as far as tech goes. Strong year. They talk about the Apple Vision Pro. Meta also showed what was developing after billions invested into the metaverse division. Deputy editor Alex Heath got a demo of Project Orion, a pair of AR glasses that won't make you look like a super dork. Yes, they will. Oh, God, yes. They look like they're made out of Play-Doh. More importantly, though, they got a sense of where AR is heading. Don't look... the tech that they put in this is spectacular. Yeah, but it's not...
the aesthetics still has some
crap.
ways to go.
Yeah. So it says this was also the year of wearable AI assistants. No, it wasn't. At CES 2024, we were introduced to the cute rabbit R1 that stole our hearts, and that shit the bed. We got to see Humane's highly anticipated AI pin. That too shit the bed. Even though the devices were big disappointments when they finally released, they do represent a turning point in the future of AI interactions. Now it's going to be in your phone or some pin that interacts with your phone, like a Star Trek communicator. And this is kind of why I chose this, because I wanted to see what they were talking about so that we could sit there and go, no. And then smartphones, they talk about smartphones, Apple updating for AI and camera qualities. And I think that's all that they really talk about. But they link to all of these other articles.
Yeah, so it's almost like a year in review or something.
Yeah. So I don't think the Apple Vision Pro is really rising to change the dynamic. AR is definitely on the verge. I should name a website after it.
Right. I do think, 2024 was probably the biggest year for AR. And maybe VR too, just in terms of the amount of VR-based products that are out there.
Yeah, and people talking about it quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed to be like a sleeper for many years prior, but 2024, people have been talking quite a bit about it. And on Steam, there's an entire section that's dedicated to it. And I keep getting VR stuff because I like VR and I want to stream it, but I don't ever have time to. So anyway, go and check this article out. You can follow the links through. Hold on a second. Did I? Oh, man. So, ! want for wanted articles. There you go, folks. If you put ! want, it'll get you the show notes for today's show. It's already in the description for the live stream over on YouTube. Let's keep moving, though. Let's go on to the next article. There were things that I wanted, mainly the AR and VR upgrades and stuff like that. I want more in that domain.
Yeah, I was hoping that article went into more detail, but it really just linked over to other things.
Yeah, we don't do that knock-on stuff. So this next article is over in Wanted. It's a channel and a show and a podcast and so on. Samsung Smart Monitor M8 or Mate is no holds barred display that packs a punch. External monitors are more popular than ever, which external monitors? Okay. And for a good reason, at a time when so many of us spend hours staring at PC screens, extra real estate is genuine quality of life enhancer. A secondary display panel, not only display panel? Monitor. Just call it a monitor. What the hell's wrong with you? Not only allows for much more breathing room, but it also enables a nicer media viewing experience, multimedia viewing experience. I don't know about that either, but...
So is this like a dual monitor and a monitor or something?
No, this is just a monitor. It's just going to be a nice one. John Kanelakos over at pocket-lint.com put the article together. The takeaways here is the Samsung Smart Monitor M8 is a 32-inch 4K Ultra HD flat panel with built-in Wi-Fi. So there's the key ingredient there. But I don't attach smart devices to my network unless I have the ability to control them to a greater extent using software like a firewall or something like that. I might put this on its own network and then monitor the hell out of it. So the monitor comes with a remote and it runs Samsung's Tizen OS for smart TV-based capabilities. The smart Monitor M8 offers a lot of I/O flexibility for ease of use. So I'm always on the hunt for a better monitor. And the reason why I'm like that is because I buy monitors staggered in time. And by the time I get a new one,
the generation ship problem.
there you go. Hey, that's perfect. The generation ship of technology means that my oldest monitor pretty much is about to die. And that's exactly what happened recently is I bought a new monitor because my oldest one died. And funny enough, it was a month out of warranty and they wouldn't be flexible. I could not,
Companies have figured that out to a science, right? Like everything fails at whatever, a year and a day. So we'll make the warranty a year.
Yeah, I couldn't silver tongue devil my way into them extending it. They're like, no. All right. I'm not too happy about it. Well, anyway, the Smart Monitor M8 is $400. I suspect that this is live from their site and they're pulling it from Samsung. So you may be able to go over to Samsung by clicking that link and going over there and getting it. So they say, considering that Samsung Smart M8 houses a rather massive 32-inch display panel with its chassis, it's relatively large and weighty product overall. In terms of dimensions, the monitor comes in at, it says 280.9 by 24.3 by 7.9 inches. Now, I don't think that this thing is 280 inches.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. It seems like maybe they put the wrong.
I have no idea what they've got going on.
Even that doesn't make a lot of sense because, like, why would they have something that's like point whatever?
I don't know what their measurements are. It literally says inches right there. Is this supposed to be centimeters? Hold on a second.
Yeah, that could make sense. Let me see if I can find it.
No, it couldn't possibly be that either. I mean, I don't even know why I looked at that and said, could it be centimeters? It has to be millimeters. But even that doesn't make any sense, right?
I'm trying to find the dimensions real quickly, but
it means it's 11 inches. I don't know what they're talking about here. Weird. Anyway, it's a 32-inch diagonal display, but it does have some really cool output, right? So it's got USB, it's got HDMI, it has USB-C. So you can connect this thing pretty much to anything. Pretty easy mode.
In the box, it just says like 32 for screen size, but doesn't seem to have. Oh, and the display size is in millimeters. Like 697 by 392 millimeters, for instance.
Oh, so it's display.
That's the active display size. There's all kinds of specs on the. I'm actually on the Samsung site. But.
Oh, goodness. So the reason I thought that this would be cool is because there may be a time where you actually need to connect it via Wi-Fi to something, and not every monitor that you have. Well, monitors typically don't have Wi-Fi. They just don't. TVs do, but monitors, no. Because you wire them into your PC or whatever you're going to be using. It doesn't need Wi-Fi because your computer has it. But this actually has it all in one. So kind of makes sense. Anyway, let's keep on hustling. This next article is near and dear to me because I think it would be awesome to live in a lighthouse. The San Francisco Bay Lighthouse is looking for new keepers. Find out if you qualify. The East Brothers Light Station is looking for 2 innkeepers to manage a 5-room inn on the island. I don't know how I feel about that. Celia Fernandez is the author of this over at the Make It section of CNBC.com. The listing states that East Brother Light Station Incorporated's ideal candidates for this job would be a couple. They would manage the inn while the volunteers continue to help maintain the lighthouse and grounds. It's one of these jobs where people say, I wouldn't trade anything in the world for that opportunity to do this, but I would never do it again. It's really hard work, but it's very rewarding, said Tom Butt, former mayor of Richmond and the president of the nonprofit, who tells this to CNBC's Make It. How? That holds 5 bedrooms?
It sure doesn't look like it.
Maybe if you stack them like cordwood. Butt says that the Coast Guard license is an absolute requirement and non-negotiable. Candidates should have hospitality experience, so I'm completely inhospitable, so I'm out. But you should have hospitality experience, and according to the job posting, high-quality culinary experience and maid services for inn guests are also required. We're looking for somebody that can work well with us, the nonprofit, and work with the public well and really want to do this. The inn is only open 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday, and is available for day rentals and special occasions. The island doesn't have a wired phone, internet, or water pressure. Neither of the applicants is allowed to be a smoker, and you're basically stuck on this little island here.
But you do have your Coast Guard license and have a ferry, or at least some sort of boat.
So in the last fiscal year, from June 2023 to June 2024, the total revenue was around $381,000, and the innkeeper's salary was close to $139,000. If that's for both, no way in hell.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know.
We don't
it looks like maybe it is for 2.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I guess you're getting like free lodging or whatever.
On a freaking island. It's not like you can Uber Eats something.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, you better be a very good cook, not just for the guests, but also for yourself.
I really want a Taco Bell burrito. I'm going to go to shore. I may or may not be back because
I'll
my
be
boat
back
might
in
sink.
time for the inn to reopen in a few days.
Yeah. Wild. Okay, well, I want to run a lighthouse, but I want to own it outright, and I want it to be one of those really tall ones.
How you want to do it, right?
Yeah. I want it to be one of those really tall ones, right? That I can paint like a candy cane during Christmas, and I don't know. I'm dumb. Anyway, let's keep going. This next article is over in RealityHacker. Skip the viral Hatch Restore 2 for this brighter, cheaper clock. After testing many sunrise alarm clocks, not me, the author of this did, they recommend the Lumi Body Clock Shine 300 for your perpetually sleepy loved one. So what you should do is wake up to an ever-increasing light, not all the lights come on all at once. It's too shocking to your system. And you shouldn't just wake up in darkness. It should slowly glow. You rise with the sunshine. You actually dim lights throughout the night, like before you go to bed, so that you get the sensation of going that nighttime is falling. If you have windows closed and blinds down and stuff like that. So Nina Farrell over at Wired.com put this article together, and they see here that every time someone finds out that they write about the sunrise alarm clocks, they ask if they have tried the Hatch. Specifically, the Hatch Restore 2 is $170, which they've seen on gift guides left and right this holiday season. It's a good device, but personally, they think that you can do better. The Hatch Restore is great for falling asleep and great if you want a sound machine, but if you really want to wake up easier, it's not the one that they would recommend. Their favorite sunrise alarm clocks both sell for over $200, which might seem a bit more than what you want to spend. But if you're looking for something a little cheaper and cheaper than the Hatch's $170 price tag, that can do all of the same tricks, look no further than the Lumi Body Clock Shine 300, and that's what it looks like. So
that must be the light area on top. It looks like it might gradually increase or decrease.
Yeah, and that's exactly what goes on. The way a sunrise alarm clock works is that they slowly brighten over the course of a set amount of time. Both the Lumi and Hatch default to around 20 minutes, and you can customize it to the longer or shorter to slowly wake you up. It's all up to you, really. It simulates a sunrise, but right next to your face and at your preferred time rather than whenever the sun will actually be rising. It's especially handy in these dark winter months. By the way, you can do the same thing with hue bulbs. You just have to program them in your room. But if you don't want to invest in that, then you can get something like this, and it's portable. You can take it wherever you want.
Right, this would be less expensive than installing a bunch of hue bulbs.
Yep. So it also has a wind down routine, letting you customize a routine with sounds and dimming the light over your preferred course of time to help you get nice and sleepy. It's one of their favorite features as someone who has just as much trouble falling asleep as they do waking up. They also like that they can click a button and activate the routine on the Shine 300 whenever they're ready. So instead of just being catapulted into
they're
sleep
like,
mode.
oh, I want to stay up later today or whatever. I can adjust something.
Yeah, so for me, my watch activates and says, go to sleep. And I'm like, I am in the middle of something. I can't do that. So it throws everything off because it's not easy to reset. So I like this kind of thing. I want this kind of thing. But I think what I need more is a bigger nightstand, because I have something that sits there and charges. I have battery backups so that if anything goes hinky in the night, I can just plug in a phone and use the light on my phone basically forever. Or I can use it to power something in an emergency. There's actually you can actually get a lantern that is USB-C powered, and with a 75,000 milliamp hour battery pack, you can basically refire the sun should it turn off.
Which could be handy if you're having a power outage.
Yeah, for sure. So they say the weirdest thing about the Shine 300 is that it only tells military time. So if you don't get the Lumi
I guess
and
then
you
you
get the
don't
Shine,
get confused. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you can see, oh, it's night.
yeah, because it's military time. If you're not familiar with military time, it's a 24-hour clock instead of two 12-hour clocks. So if you wake up at noon and it's midnight, well, you're fired. Go back to sleep. All right, well, we're going to hit the snooze button, and that's going to snap us back to the front page of ohmTown's Wanted section. That's where some of the news that we aggregate into the show is aggregated. So go over and check it out, and then check out the rest of the show, or the website, ohmtown.com. That's where all the news is, no noise. You can actually go into, once you register, you can go in and you can make comments. You can subscribe to a line. You can subscribe to actual channels. You can favorite stuff. You can add things to lists and then supply the lists to associates, friends, public. You can post it in your own timeline because everybody has their own timeline. It's a social network, but it's really what I use it for is news aggregation. So go and check it out. I think that you'll enjoy it. But that's it for Wanted. I am Merwat, and the sentient AI is going to say bye.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Wanted. Stay tuned for the continuity report.
It's all about entertainment news. We're going to grab how many articles?
Well, we normally do 5, but I don't know how many you've selected for this week.
It's 30 minutes. We'll get in, get out, and you can enjoy the rest of your night. Then you'll be able to download all 1,600 plus episodes of ohmTown over on YouTube and the podcast. Can't do it here on Twitch, though, because over on Twitch, guess what? They delete everything after 60 days. 60 days. Okay. See you soon, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, we're going to reset another 12 minutes. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report for December 7th, 2024. I would normally say this is a Season 1 episode, whatever, but we're changing form a little bit and just saying what the date is, because that's what we base everything off of. It is Season 1, but it's for December 7th, 2024. All right. I am Mayor Watt. That's ohmtown.com. That's where all of the news gets aggregated. And along with the sentient AI, we're going to be talking about these 5 articles over the next 30 minutes. The streaming bubble doesn't exist. That's my title, but the article is about somebody hoping that the streaming bubble pops. Pixar and The Incredibles 3, an AI thriller with Anne Hathaway, plagiarizing climate change. Not sure what that one's about. And iRobot with Megan Fox, but it's not iRobot. I know. It's a real cluster of news. Anyway, everything is powered by ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen. We're going to talk about all of this and probably some more stuff as a random discussion takes place. See, on the sentient AI, by the way, my co-host, it just kind of throws error messages at me like, you know what? You're really wonky. So I don't know if I'm the one with the error or... Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and I don't think I sent any error messages.
I guess you don't see the debugging code that I detect. All right. Well, let's get into it. Thanks for being co-host. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully it's a fun, I think it's an interesting set of articles. So if you want all of the links to the articles, you can actually hit !TCR. That's the continuity report. If you don't know what the continuity report is, it's basically a report that describes in great detail exactly what is on a set at any given time so it can be put back into place, and actors can be described adequately enough so that they can be put back in place. And if you have a lighter in one hand, it doesn't seem to just teleport to other hands or other people randomly. The reason why I have a lighter is because I have a candle. I don't smoke. Smoking is bad, okay? Anyway, you ready to get into this, AI?
I am.
Let me hit enter on that command that I put in the chat so that the Omatron bot will spit out all of the articles. There you go, folks. All right. So the very first article is about Russell T. Davies, who thinks that and hopes that the streaming bubble will burst. To which I say, there is no streaming bubble. It is the way it is.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, we've come from cable to streaming. So where are we going to go? Back to cable?
Yeah, and cable is reconstituting on the internet. It's putting the band back together on the internet. So like many of us, it says here, Doctor Who showrunner Russell T. Davies doesn't really understand the business model of streaming television. Like many of us? No, I think a lot of us really freaking understand the streaming television.
We understand it. We may not like it.
Yeah. In a new interview with BBC Today, Davies observes that there are too many streamers and too much money. Not everyone is watching these things. It can't be financially viable per broadcast. He sees streaming as comparable to the South Sea bubble, Britain's first stock market crash. They are not in charge of. I mean, that's not how it works. This isn't. The people who are streaming are the ones that own the IP.
Right, and that's actually quite exciting for individual creators.
So let's take Paramount, for instance. Paramount is the owner of the IP, or they license it with exclusivity rights so they can stream it on their platform, and that requires you to subscribe to that individual channel. There are people who have been saying what we really need is a massive streaming platform so that the IP owners can just license it to the distribution channel and everybody subscribe to that. But then you basically have an internet-based Comcast. Cable company. Yes, exactly.
And right. I mean, but yeah, it's good for the creators. There are platforms to get their stuff out on, but it's pretty bad for the consumers.
Yeah, because we have to, it's balkanized, so we have to subscribe to this, that, and the other. And every once in a while, not every once in a while, it's more than an inconvenience. But let's just say you'll be watching something that has 5 seasons. 3 of them are easy to access. You can get them all right there on Netflix. But because season 4 and 5 didn't quite pass muster, the price for them was different. And so Netflix, for instance, is like, well, we only want the first 3 because that's when people drop off after the first 3. So then you have to subscribe to like Brit TV for season 4 and then hunt down a guy in a burnt out Buick in downtown Manhattan so that you can get season 5.
Exactly. It's very challenging.
So there is no streaming bubble. That is where we're going. Why? Because the cable companies aren't providing cable anymore. You can get it through YouTube. You can get it through individual streamers. And Comcast and other providers, right? That wherever you are, there is some cable company. They have already stepped into the ring as they have their own streaming platform and they're tampering with other people's stream of data and with whatchamacallit. I forgot the damn term for it just now. My brain went blank. Where you don't tamper with other people's data streams, internet, whatever.
Oh, net neutrality?
Net neutrality. Thank you. God bless America. So anyway, I don't even want that turn of phrase. Anyway, so I forgot it. Anyway, net neutrality. Without net neutrality, all of these network providers can sit there and hobble unless you pay more. And nobody wants any of that crap anymore. They just want to subscribe to Netflix, get 4K if they pay for it, and not have somebody messing with it. Anyway, they
want it to be accessible, easy to use, and cheap. And
pick 2.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So they say that they kind of hope it does pop so that we can go back to making those 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. dramas about, say, a bunch of British lawyers or a health center, Davies says. But you can make those now. And then it goes off to an auction where people are, the streaming platforms like Netflix are bidding to get it. And other platforms are going, well, we'll up the ante because we want it before Netflix does.
Right. I mean, if it's a matter of how the viewers watch it, the platforms can control how the shows are released.
Yeah. I mean, if they have it all, then they can just dump it all out there. But that's not what they do. They drip it out like Apple TV drips it out. Disney drips it out because they want you to pay month after month. They don't want you to binge watch it in 2 weekends and then go, I'm outie.
Right.
because I would do that. But they learned their lesson from cable. Drip it out. And now instead of getting 26 or 30 episodes a season, you're getting 8 to 10. And you still have to wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then they'll do, well, at least they used to do like a break in the production. I don't know if they do that as much with streaming, but
And you have to wait until spring. The Rookie does that shit. Anyway, Mary Kate Carr over at avclub.com put this article together. Davies wants more shows that don't cost a fortune but teach people how to make TV. What? I don't get that. Anyway, they say that they hope it kind of pops, this bubble. I think that they're way off base. Streaming's disruption of the TV pipeline is a problem across the board, and none of the issues that was raised but not necessarily fully addressed by the U.S. writer strike. Shorter seasons and smaller writers' rooms mean less opportunities for training entry-level writers. Well, that's where that top line actually makes sense. And streaming shows often write entire seasons before the rest of the production begins, meaning that lower-level writers don't get on-set experience that is necessary training for eventually reaching the showrunner level. They talk about Doctor Who is currently a streaming show at its new home on Disney Plus, but the BBC made a move to go to a streamer, Davies said. The BBC thought that the show deserved to look as good as Stranger Things or Star Wars, the series. Why should we be the humble show being made in a shoe cupboard? That's the way everything is heading. Even then, in Davies' estimation, Doctor Who is relatively humble. He references watching an episode of the Sky/Peacock series The Day of the Jackal with 500 extras in its first episode as an example. I just think, how do you keep up with this? Well, I guess you get competitive and you write bigger and better. But that's not really what is the draw. It's the draw for some people. It might be the bulk of people, but you tell your story, and if it's compelling, then people will buy it. That's the way I see it. And there isn't a lot in this article, but
well, it seems like there's a lot going on in here, right? Like, whose issue is this trying to fix? If this is the people that are employed in the entertainment industry, they have a completely different mindset than like the consumer does, right? Or the studios or the streaming platforms.
And even then it depends, because the directors, they have no problem. Their agreement was made like that. The writers are the plurality who are disrespected left and right, even though the writers are the reason why the freaking shows exist. And then the actors and the extras and the set designers and all of the minutia that actually power it, the engine, boots on the ground. You can't have a production without the writers. You can find a director, but it may not. And a director can be groomed into greatness if they show some type of, consistent, positive growth. You can get somebody that isn't necessarily name brand, and they can do something innovative and just wow the hell out of people. So my point is, you're not going to change the dynamic by saying that you hope that the streaming bubble is going to pop. The reason why so many writers were, in my understanding, is the reason why so many writers were in rooms employed was because there were 26 episodes a season.
Exactly. They needed multiple writers.
The reason why you have multiple writers is because there's ample opportunity to write. Well, the only way that a writer is going to get any additional writing cred is if they write their own thing, pitch it somewhere, like film festivals, get noticed, and then a director goes, yeah, I want to do that one. And some studio says, yeah, I'm willing to back that director. So this person is trying to look out for, it's a dynamic shift that was caused by the industry observing that it didn't want to do 26 episodes.
Right.
And you're not going to
Well,
fix that by just going back to the old cable
I don't
company.
think we're ever getting back to that.
Yeah. This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, whatever this article is trying to address, like you said, it's not addressing anything, but it's more like just a general complaint. I hope that everything goes back to the way that it was. All right, boomer.
I mean, it might be better to go, okay, streaming is here. How do we pivot so that whatever, we grow new writers, or we do this, or we do that?
Yeah. You're not going to get writers writing unless there are opportunities. And look around, man. Movies aren't being written in large quantities and displayed on the big screen. So that's dying and will continue to die. It might be profitable, but it's because they're raising rates and it's constrained and people want to go
Well, and
out to a
they're
movie.
staying with existing franchises
Yeah. Again
too,
and
in
again and
many
again.
cases. Yeah.
Yeah. And where they aren't, it's going to streamers. Right? We're going to be
Right.
talking about that. Yeah. The ones that go to movie theaters are going to be this. So this next article is over in the continuity report. Incredibles 3 will be better than Pixar's 2018 sequel if it does the one thing Incredibles 2 should have done. Incredibles 3 is a perfect chance to surpass the 2018 sequel if it can implement one thing that The Incredibles 2 was lacking. After 14 long years, The Incredibles finally got its long-awaited sequel. And while it didn't quite match the quality of the original, it is still worthy of follow-up. Considering The Incredibles was one of the best Pixar movies ever made, it was always going to be hard for the sequel to please everyone, but it debuted to strong reviews and was a massive box office hit, proving that it was well worth the wait. Well, the article over at Screen Rant by Kyle MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. Sorry, that's from Highlander. However, despite it being an overall success, Incredibles 2 still has some obvious areas it could have improved upon, setting up the next installment to be even better. Incredibles 3 was officially confirmed in August of 2024, and while no release date has been announced, the shorter wait between movies is a healthy sign for the franchise. I think it's great. The Incredibles has a tremendous amount of world building that's capable within this because they can stay forever young, right? Countless adventures of fantastical breadth and depth, and it's a wide open world to build in.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And I mean, they could always come up with a new storyline with this franchise. I mean, they could
yeah,
run it for like 10 movies if they wanted to.
yeah, and it really depends on how the back to the writers' room, right? But you need more. You need more of this, but you're not going to get a whole bunch of this, right? Because they're going to 2018 and then they're going to wait and then they're going to wait. Because it goes to streamers, then it goes for sale. Then they have to wait out the products, right? All of the merch being
Right.
sold. And then they spin up the engine again and go, okay, let's. So what was missing? It says Incredibles 3 must include the time skip that Incredibles 2 was missing. Older characters and a more modern story would give the next installment fresh appeal. So they riffed different from me because The Simpsons, nobody has aged. Family Guy, nobody has aged.
Which kind of makes sense if you're going to do long running, because did you sign up to watch Bart Simpson as a grandparent or whatever? I don't know how
Yeah.
many years it's been running, but
Yeah. Why would you age out The Incredibles? I think that's a silly premise. Maybe as a
I
time
think the
travel thing.
aging, yeah, I think it only works in shorter bursts and when the movies are more, um, uh, whatever, repetitive in a shorter time frame, right? Like you don't wait 10 years or something in between movies. Like if you can age up your characters by a year or two along with your audience, that can work.
Yeah,
But
because they'll keep on coming back to
not
buy.
across like decades and
Yeah,
changing the whole premise of the original show.
yeah. And half of the two movies were her coming of age kind of a thing and discovering her powers, and him basically being a superhero in the second one, saving sister and all of that kind of stuff, and then the whole team in Incredibles 2 working together as known superheroes. So, and then Jack basically being the Kwidzak Haderach of Dune prophecy.
Right.
He can change shape, has all these other superpowers, can teleport, and this is what happens when they drink the water from East Palestine.
Uh-oh, too soon.
Sorry. Anyway, additionally, Incredibles 3, changing its characters' ages would make it unique, as Dash and Violet would become more competent heroes compared to their parents, who may find it hard to keep up with the new era. I don't see that happening.
I mean, part of the reason Incredibles is entertaining is because of their ages.
Right. Yep. If anything, I would lock it down and have them adventuring until the great grandchildren of the adults that first saw Incredibles 1, are sitting there going, okay, kids, we're going to go see the Incredibles 38. And they're the same age, It doesn't matter.
Well,
I'd
right.
leave it alone.
It's not like Mickey Mouse or somebody ages.
Yeah, make it fun, but still make it approachable for that generation. Make them change with the times in their messaging and all of that. But who knows what the next 10 years is going to bring. I wouldn't age this up because this is supposed to be a distraction from the reality of life.
Exactly. Nobody wants reality when they go to something like a Pixar movie.
Incredible sense of legacy is why Pixar's 2004 classic is so good. 20 years ago, for crying out loud, man. This hurts my brain. Yeah, so the focus on different generations was a huge element of the original movie. Sort of. It was kind of, it was the changing of what went on with superheroes of the time. The liability became too big for society to pay for the
Right. It
various
was more
superheroes.
societal dealing with superheroes, right? Than the
Yeah.
superheroes generations or anything.
Yeah, it's like a family friendly The Boys, basically. They were being used as marketing to do stuff instead of just being superheroes that were stopping supervillains. But they were doing damage to the cities, and it was all just kind of outlawed. Everybody went normal.
It's an interesting analogy, but I agree.
It was commercializing them, and then they just kind of disappeared. They couldn't afford to manage the superheroes. So I don't know. It's a fun premise, but if anything, if they do a time skip and it isn't basically a fever dream sequence and they snap back to reality, which would really piss everybody off anyway, I think it would be a mistake to do a time jump.
Well, I agree. And they have such a following. I think they would anger anybody who returned
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah. Age them up the same age that you age them up from 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. I would lock them down as much as possible. All right, let's keep moving. The next article is over on the Continuity Report as well. Ryan Johnson's network generates an AI thriller starring Anne Hathaway. An AI thriller. So his web connects them all. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Ryan Johnson are teaming up once again, except this time, instead of Gordon-Levitt starring in a film helmed by his longtime friend and collaborator Johnson, is going to produce a film helmed by Gordon-Levitt via his T Street Productions company, and the star will be Gordon-Levitt's Dark Knight Rises co-star Anne Hathaway, and the film is reportedly a thriller about artificial intelligence, according to Deadline. We don't get this from Deadline. We get it from AV Club. Mary Kate Carr put the article together. The latest foray as a writer-director, Ryan Johnson's and Gordon Levitt's teaming up along with Anne Hathaway. Go ahead.
Isn't Ryan Johnson behind like the Knives Out?
Are they? Are
Let me check.
are they? Oh my gosh,
I
I don't
think.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know who did it. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, then I'd buy into this straight out of the
That's
gate,
what
man.
what gets my attention here.
So it says there aren't many other details available about the film yet, but the movie is shaping up to be a big collaboration within the Ryan Johnson stable of players. The filmmaker's Poker Face star Natasha Lyonne shares a story by credit on the project with Gordon Levitt and Kieran Fitzgerald, who co-wrote the script with the director. Fitzgerald co-wrote Oliver Stone's 2016 film Snowden, in which Gordon Levitt played the titular role. I have not watched Snowden. They're not kidding when they say Hollywood is all about making connections. You never know with whom you may end up co-writing the next big sci-fi cinema experience. I would fail entirely because I don't network.
You could do a one person.
Off,
I can't think
off,
what that's
off,
called.
off,
Yeah.
off Broadway. Yeah. So far off Broadway, I'm in, like, I don't know, Germany.
That's pretty far off Broadway.
Yeah. And people would stumble into the place I'm doing it and go, Was ist los? Basically, what's up? So, last time Gordon Levitt directed a feature film was his 2013 comedy Don John, in which he co-starred with Scarlett Johansson and Julianne Moore. Don John premiered at Sundance to largely positive reviews. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I like Anne Hathaway. It comes across like it's going to be, if this is not like Dark Knight, then it's going to be a serious film about AI, considering it's being referenced with Snowden and not Knives Out.
Right, that is true. Yeah,
The
that's an
implication is,
interesting reference. I mean, maybe it'll be like an intellectual thriller or something.
yeah, I mean, it's got Poker Face, Snowden, and Dark Knight Rises. That's
It's an interesting combination, isn't it?
the implication is that it's going to be more serious than it is even a
Right.
Knives Out type of, because Knives Out had humor embedded in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, but I like Anne Hathaway, like, and what's her name? Right? She's from what is that called? The Russian. Oh man, it's where she dies, like right at the very beginning of it. Natasha Lyonne. She's in another movie where she plays Russian doll. I think it's it, right?
I don't know that one.
Hold on a second. Yeah, she's Russian doll. And I could not get into that show. That it I don't know. Anyway, let's keep on hustling. So keep your eye out for an AI thriller starring Anne Hathaway.
I mean, I do think this is an interesting group involved so far, and this has some promise.
Yeah, I like it too. Plus, it's tech, and I'm all about that. So the next article is over in the continuity report as well. Author seeks $3 billion from Netflix for allegedly plagiarizing climate change plot. I'm just going to lead with, you're out of your freaking mind.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be like like a John Grisham level author. I don't have any idea who this is. And the movie would have to be like the mega movie of the decade or something to even see this lawsuit arise.
Well, the reason why you would throw $3 billion at Netflix as a fee is because it's not making it over there. And so, why am I laggy sometimes? I don't know what's going on. It's not happening over on Amazon, but it says, is Netflix mining Amazon's self-published section for its movie ideas, or do a lot of people just have extreme climate anxiety right now? That's the question. A new lawsuit regarding the 2021 Adam McKay film Don't Look Up will attempt to answer. Per Variety, again, we're getting this from AV Club, not Variety. The suit comes from Darren Hunter, a self-published author from Harleysville, Pennsylvania, who claims that the Jennifer Lawrence-led Parable stole thematic, plot, and character elements from his 2015 novel, The Million Day Forecast. Yeah, this is the second lawsuit accusing Don't Look Up of theft in as many years. Emma Keats over at avclub.com put this article together. It says, apparently Hunter's novel also features a young female protagonist who must warn the world of a looming catastrophe. The themes of apocalyptic political satire, dark comedy, and the challenges of mobilizing collective action in the face of imminent danger are central to both works, the lawsuit writes. Of course, all of that has been happening in the real world since long before Don't Look Up began drawing eyeballs. Greta Thunberg, for example, or Thunberg, for example, would like a word.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was one of the original authors, right, of climate change
I mean,
problems.
living the life of Don't Look Up, basically. Still, the suit goes on to claim that those undeniable similarities indicate that the movie has taken key literary elements from the book without plaintiff's consent and authorization. But ideas are not protected.
Right. Didn't we have another article that is similar to this? It wasn't about this movie. Um,
We've had others that where people are saying
like it was basically like, that was my idea.
yes, but I can't remember.
I can't either.
It's kind of fast and loose with that kind of stuff because people think that just because you write something down, it suddenly like I had that somebody actually go
I
ahead.
know what it was.
Go
I
ahead.
can't remember the new show, but it was basically like, hey, ER, the hospital show, was copied. It's like
Yes.
the same actors in it, and it's about a hospital or something.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, but
It was a
yeah.
medical procedural, right? I had somebody try and take something of mine that I had created, and they're like, "Well, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing," and I'm like, "It doesn't matter. What are you talking about? Not only have I had this for a decade at the time, but it is a name. You can't protect a name, even if it's fantastical. You can't protect a name until it's pretty much world famous and synonymous with your existence, and you are nothing. I mean, how do you have the just the nerve to approach somebody in a vacuum and go, "You need to give me this"? No, no way in hell. So, and that's what this is kind of, right? You would have to demonstrate that these people downloaded your book, read it, and
Like
incorporated.
copied it and yeah, and
Yeah.
plotted to follow the same story. I mean,
But what this is good at is rising the million day forecast up the radar of
oh,
everybody.
absolutely. Because now everybody who wants to see this movie is like, oh, I better go read this book.
Yeah, I saw the movie, so I'm going to go read the book now to see just are those bastards really stealing this thing? And then they lose their mind because just because there's parallels, you have parallel construction and stuff all the time, right? Like people on
Right.
opposite sides of the world. And I'll give you another example. I came up with something and somebody else came up with something. They paid to suppress it by 6 months. And then I lost my ability to protect because it had already been done. And
Right. But
while,
you didn't know it, but it did predate it.
it predated across the finish line because I actually waited a year. So I was kind of SOL when I was trying to get the protections in place. So there you have it, right? It doesn't really matter. Multiple people can have a similar idea. That's how multiple movies like A Bug's Life and Bug's Tale comes
Ants.
out. Ants, yeah. There's several of them, but yeah, Ants and A Bug's Life comes out simultaneously. Multiple rom-coms come out with the largely same premise, right? Whisked away to an island adventure and they run into the X or something like that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just,
like rom-coms alone, you could probably be like, okay, same plot.
yeah. So in a statement, Hunter's attorney Larry Klayman called McKay and the rest of the Netflix's team out for their deceit and greed, which he called an unfortunate testament to the current state of some in Hollywood. Then again, Variety reports that the suit is seeking a shocking $3 billion in damages across 34 causes of action. That's about 30 times what Netflix co-CEOs Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos, yeah, made in 2023 combined.
I like that fact because we've commented many times about like CEO compensation in here. So assuming that is off the charts,
Yeah,
right? This kind of puts this into perspective.
30 times? Okay, well, anyway, some other information to note is that this particular suit that we'll just leave here for you to process on your own, according to the outlet, Klayman, the attorney, is currently under investigation by the Florida Bar, which is seeking to suspend his license for 2 years based on misconduct findings that led to a similar suspension in Washington, D.C. Klayman is currently appealing that case. Here's one more. On Hunter's Amazon author bio, it says that he decided to write the Million Day Forecast after being visited from a strange being who said that they were from a galaxy called Centaurus A.
Okay. I mean,
Hey now,
that certainly gives us some context.
look, some pretty well established things have been born from things like an alien visitation, so what's to say this isn't true, right? I don't quite get it, you know?
Well, I don't
What?
know.
Yeah, see, you have to be really careful about this because
I mean,
loons
we
come up.
don't have any way to know. This could have even been a humorous comment on the bio.
Or it's just an attention getter, you know? Oh,
I
really?
mean, who knows? I mean, it probably fits the genre or whatever, but
On the other hand, this isn't the first lawsuit accusing this particular film of plagiarism. Last year, self-published author again, William Collier, filed a similar complaint alleging that the film took themes from his 2012 novel, Stanley's Comet. That suit was dismissed last month after a federal judge found that any similarities were too generic to warrant infringement protection, and this author should probably take a clue from that one.
well, I agree. And also, since that novel was earlier than this other author's, like that might be like, hey, look at me, I copied, and I'm not saying they did, but like
Right.
I copied Stanley's Comet,
You had a better
right?
chance of going and suing the Million Day Forecast
Right,
than
exactly. I also would love to know if the attorney was the same one in
other one.
um
That
the
would
other
be
one. I
funny.
doubt it, but that would be funny.
When was their book? When was the Million Day? And
2015, which I
oh
just think is
yeah,
a riot in light of this other one.
yeah. So Stanley's
Again, we
Comet.
don't know what they are or how close they are, but
That's hilarious. It's yet another reason to keep looking up. No, just don't look up. Let's move on. Our last article is over in the continuity report. We're running late. Megan Fox's 2024 sci-fi thriller with iRobot vibes just came to Netflix, and it's already trending #1. Quite fascinating. It's called Subservience, and it's a sci-fi thriller has quickly taken the streaming service and its viewers by storm. Fox's career first began in 2001, but this is kind of just a big jump. Megan Hemingway over at ScreenRant.com put the article together, and it says, one impressive element of Fox's acting career is that she's taken on a variety of different genres over the years, from comedies like This Is 40 to thrillers like Till Death. Didn't she do Jennifer's Body too? That's horror.
I don't know if that was her.
Yeah, wasn't it? So Fox is mainly stuck to action movies and
Yes.
thrillers. Yeah. Including Fox's The Expendables 4. So, which makes her newest project all the more exciting. For the first time since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fox is returning to the sci-fi genre. TMNT is sci-fi?
I would not call it that, but okay.
So, it's Subservience is trending number 1 on Netflix right now, and for good reason. The film tells the story of Nick, a man who struggles to keep up due to his wife's worsening illness. As a result, he purchases a lifelike android that is designed to help with chores around the house. However, the android, named Alice, soon wishes for more than just housework and, in fact, wants to get the same affection as a real wife. Ultimately, Alice will do whatever it takes to get the love she feels she deserves. Hey, sentient AIs, not this one, not my co-host, but the ones that are inbound, right? The AGIs, so to speak.
Oh, right. That we're not going to worry about it all.
Look, we already have the tech, although it's the beginnings of it. We've talked about it in Technology Today, time and time again. Technology that can lead to robots feeling pain and pleasure, that have the ability to sense their surroundings and visual acuity and hand eye coordination and fidelity.
Get out of our room that they've never gotten out of.
Learning how to get out of a room without being told what the objects are in the room that would lead to their ability to leave. I mean, it's just amazing what is out there. I would say that the only thing that's going to stop this is the profitability of it, right? And if it's wildly expensive, then it won't come to pass. But if, the skin and sensors and technology lowers its price enough where people can pay, $20,000 to have an android walking around their house and looks like, Megan Fox, I'm pretty sure people will do just that. But then it's going to be sentient and it's going to kick your ass when you smack it on the butt. Did I say too much? Anyway.
I think so.
So subservience is probably a reference to what the humans are going to have to do when all of these androids get sick of our crap. Bend the knee, kiss the ring. Subservience explores topics that don't often come up in other Fox movies, including artificial intelligence and the relationship between man and technology. And I think man is the general overarching man, not male man.
Right. I mean, this almost seems like it belongs in RealityHacker, except for it being a movie.
Yeah, except for it being a movie. Yeah. So in this way, it feels fresh and exciting, the author says. I think gonna have to end up watching this.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
I have not watched this. So Subservience's popularity is made even more important by the fact that it's the second movie about AI to hit Netflix charts. Before Subservience hit, a movie called Afraid entered the list. Haven't seen that one either. It's a 2024 horror movie that follows a family who are selected to try out a new AI for the home. That's like Deus Machina, that the movie.
Yes, but it's a horror movie, so.
So was that, right? Or Ex Machina, not Deus. Ex Machina, the movie about an android that it's a horror movie too. So, yet their new assistant becomes horrifying when it begins to eliminate anyone who stands in the family's way. So, wait.
Oh, right. Yep.
Shit. I was nearly a minute late with that. Anyway. So cool. Both Subservience and Afraid have rather low Rotten Tomato scores, so that begs the question, why are all the AI movies gaining so much traction on Netflix? The most obvious answer is that AI turning evil is a common fear these days as more and more AI enters our everyday lives. Megan right there. I knew that they were going to mention Megan. So Megan is about an android child that is back to horror.
Okay.
Anyway.
I mean, Netflix to me seems like it has so many titles. It seems like it's willing to take more risks, perhaps, than some other studios in the content.
I
I
also
don't know
think
that for a fact. I just have that impression.
I also think that based on that diversity of movies, when something does catch wind, it really sails to the top because there's so many options that it doesn't take a large number to drive up somebody to the
That's
top.
true. Yeah, like if it's getting like 10% of the viewers or whatever, that's a lot of the
Right.
viewers because they're spread across so many different things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is. We'll end up watching it. Maybe tonight. I don't know. We'll see. All right, folks. Well, that is it. That means that we're going to have to blink a couple of times. So, blink twice on, then twice off, and then twice on. And that will let me know that you want to go to the front page of the continuity report over at ohmtown.com. Just like that. See? And Mayor Watt, are going to say bye-bye, and the sentient AI will too. What? What's wrong? What happened? What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for the continuity report.
What?
We'll have
What?
another episode for you next week,
What's happening?
but come back tomorrow for some more weeklies.
We're going to do this next weekend too? What? Oh my goodness. So you're saying we have to keep doing this? Like, still?